I don't know. That's where the camera is. And
Well, it's not bad.
I'm always looking at you, and then this side of my
we
head.
kind of look that way.
Yeah.
Here's our entry music. Gotta get a little smoke on the line.
From Erie Zone Government Access, Channel 9, from the City Hall Council Chambers, it's time once again for the Taxpayers Hotline Show. And now, ladies and gentlemen, your host.
It's hard to beat that smile, you know that. You're back.
I'm also front.
Oh, there you go. Well, this is City Councilman Kaz Kwiatkowski,
And not City Councilman DJ Barker.
you look enlightened. You know, we got to change that entry music. What do you think?
We could.
We got to get something.
We could.
Something snappy.
Something modern. How about a rap song?
I don't know. Maybe a little rock or something. But
Okay.
go ahead there, caller.
I'm coming right out of the box.
Oh, hey, what box was that?
Well, Cracker Jack, I suppose.
Cracker Jack. They used to give you nice prizes in there, remember?
I wish I had some of my Captain America rings.
you know, DJ had the decoder ring.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah, but it never worked though. You know, it just was.
But even the old Dick Tracy watch.
There you go.
Look at that. It's here. The realization is here now.
Yeah, you know, I used to laugh. We used to laugh at that.
Yeah.
But then they did. Remember, for a while they did have those mini TVs.
Yes.
Yeah.
They got rid of them, but they were out for a while.
I have one.
Yeah, who needs one now? Now you got a cell phone with better pixels than some of the TVs we had.
Yeah, I had a little portable one that ran on about 4 or 5 batteries. It had AM, FM radio, the whole shot.
I mean those mini TVs.
Yeah.
Yeah, now you can get. You can get a. Your phone has better pixels and all that. Than
I just take your baseball bat and hit him now. Hey, I finally got a chance to watch a replay of the city council meeting. They have them at such weird times.
yeah, I don't know why I don't make that schedule, but
I understand that, but you know, I heard you address Kim Green, and boy, I'll tell you what, I agreed with you 150%. I got sick of her saying, well, this is the way we did it in the past. The past is gone. We're looking towards the future.
that's true. Because you know what happens when you live in the past? You become a fossil.
Yeah, and the whole
Then people
shot
study you.
on the administration, the union people, they all should work together as one. And, you know, it was kind of really...
What did I specifically, was I addressing that issue about the code guy, or?
You were addressing the total issue on everything and how it should be brought before you ahead of time and not at the last minute for the mayor's whims.
Well, I think that's what, well, at least I'm hoping my fellow councilmen, we were talking that way in the room, in the back, you know, our caucus, and I said, you know, you said, you know, I was talking to old councilmen.
Yeah.
And they always told me, you know,
It was done this way before.
well, sometimes they actually got the stuff ahead of time. I mean, like we get it, and then it looks like we're rubber stamping it because, well, we don't have much time to do it. But
Right. They should give you plenty of time and not at the last minute. And you know you have the right to change in whatever.
oh, they admit that. In fact, she admits it, but in reality, I gotta wonder why. You know, like I always hear, well, you can look at it.
And then, you know, the whole thing about it here, like the Times News is chastising city council for changing the mayor's budget. This is baloney.
Yeah, well, because they, you know, it's amazing how they take different. Over the years, I wanted to save some of their rhetoric that they used to come up with, because one time it's, you know, council needs to do the right thing. Another time it's council needs to, you know, go out on its own. Another time it's the school board.
Yeah, you have two particular writers at that times that is always for the mayor and his side and always chastising council. You know, if he thinks it's such an easy job, tell him to get out there and do it and face the people.
Well, he made a comment this Sunday, and like Pat Howard, and I usually like his columns, But he lumps all the councilmen together, and I don't want to be lumped because,
You can't be all together.
I mean, they miss a lot of the dialogue that we have is in the caucus room.
No,
And, you try to see there how much support you have before you come out. I don't want to make everything out here, a showcase for the Times to write up,
yeah, the whole thing there. But, a lot of times you get your stuff sent down from the 5th floor, and the mayor's bobbleheads that are always going yes. They try to persuade the majority of council.
I think they're starting to get their eyes open a little, and I hope, hey, look, we got some very, very difficult decisions ahead of us. I mean, really big.
They were real hard.
Yeah, John, you know yourself. I mean, we didn't need that consultant to tell us what we already knew.
No, that's true. And in fact, that consultant, I think the money that was given to him to do that was a waste of money. The money should have been applied to the city itself. I understand it's grant money, but grant money gets you in trouble.
Right, but you know what? We're required to do that by the feds, okay?
That's true.
So now he's just telling us what we already knew, but now it's from a guy that's supposed to be an expert.
Yeah.
So we got a choice now. We can what do you call it? Slip into
experts' opinions?
Well, we can slip into irrelevance, and in 30 years, where you and I live, the whole city will be actually, be out to the border of Mill Creek, maybe even into Mill Creek.
You can go back to the old plans from way back when, and the same thing was said and given back then. I've got plans from the 60s.
Yep, nobody listened then.
And it's the same thing. But how can you do that when there's no industry in the city, there's no business in the city, all they want is block parties?
Yep, and you know what? Nothing's going to come when... I can't remember what I was looking at the other day, and I couldn't help but believe it's a result of our predicament. That the fact that we're viewed, when people view us from the outside, they're not real intent upon investing in the city.
No, it's like Geneva on the lake.
And you look at it and you go, we're losing top shelf restaurants.
That's right.
And then we're losing, we don't get the new grocery store all the time.
No.
And then you look at the other investment and you don't see it coming in because, they're happy to go over the border, but for some reason they don't want to come inside the city border.
Well.
And you start to wonder.
Well, it's just like this morning in the newspaper. There's Brennan standing under the 14th Street Bridge on the west side of town. Then he says it needs about $670 for lighting. Well, let CSX put that in.
Pardon?
CSX, the railroad.
Yeah.
Let them do it. What about the one on 14th and Ash? The lighting there is terrible, too. And Brennan got that big write-up, and what rang to my mind right away, it's political only for when the mayor's term is up. That's all that is. It's showboating. If we need the lighting, let Gann and let Lecom come in and put it in. We had that ambient lighting that was supposed to be changed. Has it been changed?
No.
No, it hasn't.
You're talking about the ones on State Street, right?
But that ambient lighting, remember that was supposed to have been changed and
Yeah.
everything else? With brighter lights on the center poles and all that? That they looked into, the engineering department, and was going to be taken care of? Good thing I didn't hold my breath.
You're talking about the ones along State Street and everything, right?
I'm talking about that ambient lighting.
Yeah. You mean the one Gannon's going to put in, you mean?
That's a different area down there. They're putting that in for their students.
I still get complaints around, the area around juniors and all that.
Yes, that's because the lighting goes the wrong way. They don't want it to go up into the air.
Well, I keep saying it's like walking down the street with a walking in the woods with a flashlight.
Yeah.
Aimed at the ground, you'll see what's in front of you.
True.
But, you and I know, if we're driving down the middle of State Street and you look over to the side, you really don't get a lot of light.
No, you don't.
And so, the criminals got to like that.
True. The old lighting was better, but it was ambient, and they had money to do it. It's just like that monkey cage down in the park. Every time I see that, I laugh.
What, that...
That show stand.
Yeah.
You know, I call it the monkey cage.
Well, I got to tell you, John, nobody took pleasure in putting the gates up, but what happened with the other place was that's an example of when you don't have the manpower or you don't have the will to go through there and rouse people.
That's true.
It turned into I'll say it over the air. You had all kinds of paraphernalia there that shouldn't have been there.
That's true. Have you ever been out to the park in Northeast?
Not lately, but
They've got seahorses, ornamental iron all around there. They got benches and everything else. A little community like that makes ours look like it's backwoods.
yeah, we just I say, John, you and I were raised in a time when
You could walk away and leave your house wide open.
right we had 138,000 people. People gave a crap. Now it really embarrasses me because a lot of my colleagues don't remember what it used to be like, and I can't blame them. They weren't born, okay?
True. And this old adage, east side, west side, they think that's a joke. That's been going on since the 60s.
Well, the report said, it's interesting. I'll get into another thing I attended this week. When you're done, and I'll explain to you what they said about the east versus the west.
But
it has some relevance,
yeah, true. But the whole thing here is, how can the east side build up for the peninsula and everything else when the west side merchants don't want it over there because they're afraid they won't get all the pie? They'll just get a slice.
That's true. I heard people, I was going to go into that story, but let's say they did put an east side bridge there or a tunnel. And everybody goes, well, all the crimes there, why would you put a tunnel there? Well, maybe because it might change the whole atmosphere.
True.
Maybe, when you got a little circulation there and you don't have the town divided by a highway, cul-de-sac and everything else,
True, and you'll have motels and everything else.
Yeah, when we closed down McBride Viaduct, that was one avenue down East Avenue. And you remember when you were a high school kid.
Yeah.
That street was very relevant.
True, it sure was.
And when I was on the school board, they said we have to build down a new high school in that area. We must. And what happened to all those,
Yeah.
Everybody now, you wonder why it looks like a ghost town down there.
Want to get rid of all the schools except two. What two are they going to keep?
Yeah, there you go. Nobody knows yet.
That's true. One more thing, and then I'll get off the air. I heard you people discussing, you primarily with ADA, access downtown for all these people that are making money for pulling that, and there's no room for two wheelchairs and the whole shot. Well, I could split out a couple. One is on 3rd and French, and the other ones, like Scully's used to be, they put out their things and all that. And then you had a great idea. You ought to get a hold of Rocco and make these people purchase.
Yeah.
Purchase a permit. And then Witherspoon, I worked with Witherspoon. We're good old buddies and all that. But I didn't like what he stated. He stated the ones that are grandfathered should be grandfathered. That's baloney.
No, first of all, they did it. Right now, John, we have an ordinance. Well, I don't remember if it's an ordinance or...
There's no open can ordinance downtown because I checked with the LCB.
Yeah, no, not about that, but about those tables. They're supposed to call engineering, request a permit. We don't charge for it. And all we do is come out there and say, here's where you can put your tables.
Yes.
But grandfather the ones that haven't even taken that step, I would never be in favor of that.
I don't think anybody should be grandfathered.
No, we got some businesses that actually went about the proper way, contacted the city, they got the proper easement, they indemnified the city against any accidents, and all that's been done. But yeah, it's not about making money, it's about having a set of rules so that in one of 3rd and French, well, we won't go into that one, but there's a lot of politics in that one involved.
Well, sure. And the whole thing here, just like I've been telling you, and you can't get any backing down there, the contractors who work in the city of Erie with these great big vans, tying up street, putting out cones for cutting grass and snow plowing, they should be licensed.
Well, hell, I came down Pine Avenue the other day, John, and one guy's blocking that whole lane.
But that happens on 38th Street all the time.
Yeah. And this is, then you come down to the city, And I don't know if they really bother checking with engineering or the police department or the fire department, but these cones show up, and then all of a sudden you're coming down a one-way street and you got nowhere to go.
True.
At one time I had to go, actually, I would have loved to have gotten a ticket. I really would have. Because I wanted to see who was going to ticket me after I was sent down a one-way street with no place to get out except go back up a one-way street.
Yes.
You know.
One other quick thing, and I'll get off here. I see code enforcement is supposed to be half computerized.
Yeah, laptops.
Laptops and everything to answer everything. Would you find out and see, without that, how many citations have been issued this year from code enforcement?
Yeah, I plan on putting a request in for that because
Really curious.
I was also told that sometimes complaints are taken but not recorded.
Well, that's what I'm interested in.
So
there's a 38-inch television still down at 38th and Page Street. Right, it's in the sidewalk now.
Right, we got a couple that I got to turn in when I get done with the show here. But be aware, if you're listening up there, code enforcement, that Kaz has a little army of people that are going to call in complaints, and if you don't mark them down and you don't record them, don't be surprised if I don't bring it up at one of the council meetings.
Maybe we should all start taking pictures of this.
Well, there's a couple people doing it. They don't like that because, but you know what? If you don't, I will find people that want to do it.
I'm talking about the pictures of the house and all that. I'm talking about the pictures on the sidewalks and everything else.
Well, yeah, it's a mess. I just came up. I don't know how they miss it. I mean, I got to come up from church, and 2 weeks in a row I see it. You know, and then I got to go to church, and my fellow parishioners are, can we have a word with you?
I don't think they know how to multitask in the city.
I don't think they want to leave their desks, some of them. That's the
Engineering
problem.
department, you see the parks department, they all go by this, they turn their heads and go the other way.
Yep.
Why?
We got to be proactive. This problem right now is getting worse and worse.
And it's not going to get any better.
Read the Buki report. He said the same thing, but...
Well, that's another day for another story.
Here you go.
We're going to get all those reports and all that, and it's going to be pie in the sky. Pie in the sky doesn't do it.
Only if we demand those reports.
In the hand. Okay, have a great day.
You too. Only if we demand those reports, though.
I was going to say the exact same thing. You have to be more proactive. This reacting to things after it's already happened.
We're actually too nice in this town.
Yeah.
Yeah, we worry about offending the people that are doing wrong.
Yeah.
How about the people that are doing right? How about the people that cut their lawn?
Yeah.
The people that put their garbage out the proper way?
Right.
Now, we got an ordinance, I thought it was 24 hours. But now for 3 days I've looked at garbage piled up on Pine Avenue by college kids. Okay, now we're going to go, well, that's only once a year.
Yeah.
Well, what if I do that once a year?
Right.
What if I do that twice a year?
Right. You'd probably
Is 3 the magic number?
get a citation.
Or do you cite me if I do 5 maybe?
Yeah.
Come on, a rule's a rule,
Who would keep track of that? Just go
hop on the landlords,
do
find
the
out.
citation right away.
Yeah, hop on the landlords and tell them, hey, you know what? It's up to you to tell your tenants what's up.
How many code enforcement people do we have?
5 or 6.
We have 5 or 6, and they're supposed to be basically out.
We have some
writing citations.
we have some that do their job very well, and some that you got to kind of coerce.
Oh.
I'm not naming names.
No, I think that the whole city has gotten used to being reactive, and we just need to shift everybody into a new mindset.
This is how it happens.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, at my age, I can remember when they had a guy that came around and checked your sidewalk. We don't have it no more. I can remember when people were terrified at the prospect of, and I found out later we didn't have ordinances against them. We didn't have ordinances against farm animals, yet everybody said, well, you can't have one in the city.
Right.
And, well, it must be law. But there wasn't one. But people still did that. People didn't park on their sidewalks.
Yeah.
They didn't park on their front lawns. Okay? They were afraid. Okay? There was a rule of etiquette. Now, that's gone, obviously.
Yeah.
But there's an old saying that when little things become big things, unattended.
Right.
You close your eyes on one thing, and the old adage about the broken window, that becomes 2 broken windows, then 3.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you wake up one morning and you go, the problem that probably could have been nipped in the bud originally, now you're talking about a whole whole blocks of the city. And yeah, now you do have an excuse because you probably would be out 24/7 doing it. But who do you have to blame for it? Really yourself.
Yeah.
Because if you got to. What do they say? Like, even in the Army, if you're going to take back what you lost, it's got to be an inch at a time.
Right.
Okay? It's the old theory about you can't save everything one time, so you just start. How do you empty a bucket of sand? One shovel at a time.
Yeah.
If your intent is to drain the lake, how do you do that? One bucket at a time.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
There's no magic cure.
There's an abandoned house next to my house that's been abandoned for almost 5 years now. The windows are broken. People are writing on it. There's garbage piled up along the back of the house. And what are you supposed to do?
Turn it into me and we'll see what's been done with it, number one. Go ahead, caller.
Hey, Kev.
Yeah.
Hey, what's going on with the EMTA?
Well, we are in the process of trying to set up a meeting between the Commonwealth and the county and us. But, I can't release much more than that except that it has to be what I call dialogue and not what's existed up to now. Okay? It's not going to be a list of demands and no room for negotiation.
I know, she wanted everything, doesn't she?
Well, I mean, when you got to read about it in the paper, and but, council took a lot of heat, but hey, you know what? We okayed the thing. We okayed the charter. EMTA okayed the charter, and then we read about in the paper that they're not happy, the county. Well, you know what? You should approach us and talk to us, not make it a big political thing and make it a big media event. Come and talk to us.
Yeah.
The old saying is, where reasonable people meet, reasonable things will happen. But, let me tell you this. Every member on council that I know of is worried about, the people we represent. And that's the average person that takes the bus, that doesn't have a car, doesn't have the ability for whatever reason. That's what public transportation was designed for. Unfortunately, in Erie, it doesn't affect the people that are a little better off because we don't have the problems they do in Chicago or New York where, you got to take public transportation to get down to work. Let's be truthful. Most of the people that take the buses are the elderly, the poor, with the lift and everything, the ones that can't afford a car, whatever reason, or, and you know that, Lloyd, right?
Oh, yeah.
And that's the people I'm accountable to, not the county people and not the county courthouse,
Yeah.
Number one, they didn't elect me, but number two, I'm all for regionalism, but nothing stops the EMTA right now from making a run anywhere they want. It just has to be justifiable because, not all of it is reimbursed. But I don't want them coming in and saying, and we got no representation at all, which is what they were offering us, maybe one seat. And what's going to happen if they decide, they don't like, providing bus service to our Lower East Side or any of our other, areas that need the transportation much more than other areas? Are they going to be allowed to just drop it? And then we have no word in it, Lloyd? How do you feel about it?
Yeah, I think leave the damn thing alone the way it is.
That's what I say. You know what? We don't interfere with it. They're going to run buses out to Presque Isle. They're going to try that. They can try anything they want, and they have. And if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it's like any other experiment. It's not going to happen. You got to have riders that want to ride.
Yeah, I remember when they tried it one time out to Fairview, it didn't work.
Yeah, let's be truthful. Even where I live, Lloyd, and I live on the Upper East Side, above 38th Street. How many of my neighbors actually take the bus? Now, maybe the lift is a different question, and that's at risk too now. But for the average person in my neighborhood, they're not taking the bus.
Yeah, you remember who started the lift, don't you?
Pardon?
Remember when the lift started?
Yeah, and I think the county had it, right?
No, Lou Priegel started it.
Oh, he did. And then I think the county took it over, and they didn't do a good job.
They didn't do a good job, and then they went to somebody else.
Yeah, we got to start worrying about they want to take everything from us, and what's going to happen? I mean, you might as well disband council. They might as well take over the city then. I guess that's what they want to do.
I think they'll run the city.
You know, where was their help when we needed help years ago? You know, over the years, we've funded the bus. And what they don't want to admit, Lloyd, no matter how you do this, remember this, all city residents are county residents. Not all county residents are city residents. So, you know, when we pay, we're still going to pay the lion's share of any county funding. We are still 38 or 40% of the county. You know, so, you know, they give us a few $1,000s and say, you know, do something with it. Well, you know what? Where was all the money from the gambling? I didn't see any of them sharing any money with us.
Get any?
Nothing, right?
No. Hey, Cats, why have you on? You know, Barbara Nikiewicz Park, Third and Cascade. You remember when it burned?
When it burned?
Yeah.
No.
Last year. I want to know, are they going to rebuild it?
Ooh. Where's it at? 30th and Cascade?
Yeah, Third and Cascade.
Oh, 3rd and Cascade.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll find out for you.
You know, they hushed it up.
Wasn't there a ball field down there too? Or not?
No, the ball field fourth and Third and Cherry.
Oh, yeah, but isn't there some kind of like softball field down there, 3rd and No, there isn't, huh?
No.
3rd and Cascade. I'll have to take a ride over to see what shape it's in.
Across from some area Pettit House.
Okay, but it's in bad shape, huh?
No, you remember when it burnt last year?
You mean the grass did or something?
No, it burnt their equipment in it.
Oh. Let me...
Never heard any more. Are they going to replace it or what?
You know, that's a good question. I'll find out. And I'll take a ride over there to take a look at it, okay?
Our name is up there, you know, the placard.
Yeah, it'd be a shame not to have it, you know, fixed.
Yeah.
I'm gonna ask, but I'm gonna take a ride over it on my way home. Just I don't go that way, but I'll take a ride, just take a glance at it.
Let's go over today.
1985, Utulio on there.
Wow, that's a ways back.
Yeah. And I was a young little kid then.
You never were little, were you?
Oh, I remember Utulio.
You know you're old though when you remember the mayor before him, right? You don't, right?
Yeah, Williams was the mayor.
Yeah, you're pretty close, Williamson. Yeah, you'd say that makes you and I old, Lloyd.
Yeah, I know him.
That's when you can remember the mayor before Lou. That's like ancient history. We're like scribes.
Yeah.
They give us a bunch of those monk outfits. We can sit there and pretend we're writing the papers, right?
Nice.
Okay, I'll get up so somebody else to call.
No problem, but I'll take a ride there, Lloyd, try to get you an answer on that, okay?
Okay?
Thanks for calling, Lloyd.
Okay, thanks, man.
What's this?
He's supposed to have had a root canal.
Oh, well, we can't have him on. We need to kick him off.
Somebody locked the door, right? Uh-oh.
We're about to be invaded.
Yeah, you know, they were talking about an East Side Bridge. I went to that meeting, and it was interesting. They were saying that there's a perception that the East Side gets stuck with all the bad things in life. And when you look at it, you think about it. They got the sewer plant,
Yeah.
okay, a lot of the industries, a lot of the negative, what people view as negative things are on the East Side.
Right.
You know, but they said, think what a tunnel or...
That's short.
Are you okay? They got a tunnel or a bridge, you know, but now they're talking about a tunnel.
Yeah.
And a tunnel would cost probably just the construction of it about 10 to 20 million.
Yeah.
Okay, that's not counting.
We're going to need that.
Yeah.
Wait, you know, you ain't got no people and you ain't going to have nobody working in your GE's going to be shut down.
Well, you know, we can't wait. Ron, we were doing good before you. What?
Well,
You bring
guys,
your negativism here again.
I bring my negative because it's right. The people
Look,
are
Ron,
not
we-
going to be working. They
Ron.
have no jobs.
Maybe we have to start taking care of the businesses that are here. Okay, when you look at it, except for GE. Okay.
Burns.
Wait, except for GE. If you do your history, you find out that all the companies that were big in Erie, most of them were started by Erie people.
Right.
Erie Tech
They're gone.
was started in the back of some guy's garage,
Right.
became Erie Resistor,
Right.
merged with an outfit from St. Mary's, PA, became Erie Tech, right? Now, there are reasons, we all know the reasons why they don't like Pennsylvania. And it's not just about Erie.
It's the right to work state.
It's a lot of issues, okay? But Erie happens to be, unfortunately, the wrong end of the state, so we don't get any attention. You know, on the east side of the state, they're battling the same things, but they have a little bit more political clout.
Pennsylvania, what do our state senators do in Erie? Nothing. I don't hear them nothing.
They're east, a lot of them are east of Susquehanna, because that's where if you look at a little geography lesson, you went to school, right?
Yes.
Okay, here's the Susquehanna River.
Right.
There's a perception that you have east of the Susquehanna and you have west of the Susquehanna. That's your political base. Now, I'll give you an example. All right, hang tight. Go ahead, caller.
Ron, I heard the same thing that you heard about GE from a reliable source. 5 years, and they're out of here.
I believe it, and
Yep.
but then that means instead of us looking for the big savior, which we always are, we have to start keeping the ones we have here and taking care of them.
Yeah, but they're going. They build that airport. They're come. They built the airports, and they took the hell out of Erie.
Look, you got some companies here that
Okay.
we need to address their
I
issues.
heard Lord's might be going down. And they
Lord's is gone already, okay?
Not Lord. The one up there, they took over that by the Hiltons up there, up at Pizza.
How do you hear you, Ron?
What's that?
And how do you hear you?
Put that mic in front of you.
Okay. That one they just they took off a 12th and Green Garden. I hear they're having a lot of trouble.
Can't hear you.
You got this mic on?
No.
Hey, hang on a minute.
He's only listening through the phone, I think.
Yeah, but can you hear me okay?
I can hear you good.
Tap your mic. Should be on.
I'm on. You go. There we go.
There we go. You might add your pipe down a little bit in the back.
Well, you know, like Lord's was on 12th and Green Garden. Someone bought that. I don't know what they're going to put that, but they're having trouble too. That's what I hear up at that plant, that they just put millions and millions of dollars in tax breaks.
Good.
And then you got Erie's Magnetic.
Pause it.
Erie Magnetic is ain't doing too good either. So, you know, these people that are supposed to be getting jobs in Erie, instead of sitting on their ass and just doing nothing, you got 5 different entities trying to get jobs, and none of them are doing not one job on these guys. What are they getting paid to do? Now you're going to give this, who's this heavyset guy that takes care of downtown Erie? Or he's trying to get all this money to do downtown Erie.
Mm-hmm. Johnny Buckner.
Yeah, what's going on with
Well,
that?
the merchants, Ron, just so you don't speak out of turn, okay? The merchants in Erie pay an extra tax of their own doing.
You can't hear Ron very good.
Really?
Sounds like he's talking in a bag.
Ah, you sound now. Can you hear me?
Oh,
Are you listening on the TV or just through the phone?
I got my TV on mute.
Oh, okay.
He's just hearing through the phone, so Ron.
That might be part of the problem, too. Ron, the merchants downtown in a predefined zone, which extends, I believe, up to probably 14th, maybe 16th Street, you know, encompasses about 2 to 3 block radius around, they all pay an extra tax to the downtown group, which
Society, yeah.
which Mr. Buckner heads, okay? They have their own board, which what happens is the city collects the money in taxes. It's a separate tax. We give it back to them. They have a board that manages it. Their job is to, and if you've seen these little trucks around town, they take care of their own maintenance, what the city doesn't do. They come up with programs, facade programs, etc. And they do look for grants that are specific to downtown, okay? Now, they're trying to do what the city probably wouldn't do, okay? So they're in and anybody can form their own zone. And, you know, what you do is you take a vote of the people in that zone. If they're willing to pay an extra fee, that money goes to them, and then they get to administer. They have to report to council, okay?
Right.
But that's their, you know, they hire Mr. Buckner, okay? We don't pay him, all right? They pay him. They have their own board. And the merchants get together, they tell them what they'd like to see. You know, if they want to see, they have a lot to do with the lighting and everything else, you know, the atmosphere of downtown, whatever they want. And we've been with them. They do a lot of the plants you see downtown, the trees that are being planted, okay? So it's a win-win for everybody. But going back to your thing about the factories, yes, and this gentleman's right too. We're probably going to lose GE, and that's a bigger issue than just Erie. That's, you hit part of it, okay? They don't like the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania for many reasons. But our job is to keep the people like Smith's happy, the people like Erie Insurance happy, and find out, you know, is there any other companies out there that need a little, because when I was a young man, Zern, Lords, Hammermill, they was all local people that started those companies years ago.
Before you get a job anytime you wanted, you know, and there was sustaining jobs for the family. Who's going to work? Who's going to do $10 an hour and try to sustain a family, and a house, and a car?
But there you have the problem, Ron.
Right there.
They're happy because they can go to Texas and pay $10 an hour. I'm just saying that as a
right.
They can pay less than they're doing up in Erie, and they're happy with that.
Well, GE has a plant in Grove City.
Are you still there, sir?
You know, Grove City has a plant.
Oh.
Okay. It's non-union, and they're paying their men exactly the same as they do up here.
What's the difference in Grove City?
They make engines and stuff. That's
Yeah,
all
but I mean, why are they okay down there and not up here?
I don't know. They don't have a union, I know.
What does that get them, though?
But they got a job, and they ain't getting busted or anything. They're having a job. Up here, they're doing away with your job.
Well, you know, you look at Texas, and it's apparent that that's where they want to be.
Well, with the state legislature, better get out there.
I can tell you this: my brother-in-law in Virginia.
Okay, he's in Virginia. Okay.
Yes, that's a right to work, and they told him, and they would tell the workers, "You're working overtime. You have no choice in the matter."
Oh yeah.
Okay, and they got to actually. They were tired of making too much money. I mean, I know you find it hard to believe, but there comes a time when you actually want, you know, some time off. But they were in a midst of government contracts involving the military, which had to be done, okay?
Now, my brother worked out there at GE. Like, say you work 12 hours on a Monday. You come in the rest of the week, you get double time. All the time. He's getting $5,000, $6,000 checks, making that kind of money. He wasn't doing that much of a physical job, but being there, he was making big money.
But here's the problem now, Ron. You know, they had an interesting... I saw a map yesterday. It was on MSN, on the computer. Showed a map of the United States. And it showed what the disparity was. And part of that is in Mr. Buki's report. About
who's this Buki guy?
That's a guy that did our...
Sounds like he's from India. He's over from India.
That's the guy who did our comprehensive plan.
How much did that cost the city?
That was through a grant, okay, but it was ordered by the government. You have to do one. That's why the county's doing one. That's why everybody's doing one, because you're supposed to do it. They demand it now. Remember, he who gives the gold makes the rules, okay? You think we would have... If you look at the other reports commissioned over the history of Erie, the Nolan report, the Doxiatos report...
What report did you put that...
The Rodoval report... And I went to some at the Jefferson Society. They had it open to the public.
That's another...
But it was open to the public. You could have went, Ron. No charge. They explained that even the plan that they had in Chicago, all these plans used to be paid for by the Chamber of Commerce, or somebody big would commission it that had a vested interest in why they wanted the plan done, okay? You know, maybe it occurred like when Chicago was in its golden days and like the city... Well, you know, the Chamber of Commerce, they wanted to see how can we get somebody to back up what we want to see done. So you come out with a plan. Well, now the government's saying you need these plans, so you got a direction. You got some guidance, okay?
What kind of guidance do we have here in Erie? You tell me what guidance.
I'm saying you can bring the horse to water, you can't force it to drink, okay? All right? So, Ron, what this plan showed was the disparity between, and you don't need to, you could be, and I hate to use this term, and I won't, but you can see the light just walking, okay? You got a tremendous block of poverty, and you got a tremendous block of people that are doing well. And you know where that line is drawn, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, where is it?
right down the east side.
No,
Lower
I mean,
east side.
the block of poverty is pretty much a city,
Right.
okay? And the block of do-good is, let's face it, it's,
No.
look where the people that can actually afford to do what they want to do, where they live.
South Shore,
Fairview.
Fairview.
I mean, in Erie, he claims, I didn't believe it, okay? I mean, I wasn't ready to believe it at face value, but he said it is one of the wildest percentages of disparity in the whole country, okay? Now, what he does is collect data. We can collect the same data, but do you want to spend that kind of time of your life, right? So, what did I see on MSN yesterday? A map of the United States. And it showed the disparity of the middle class and how it declined.
Well,
Now, most of the colors, which range from, the worst colors were like red, orange, then it went to black. Okay? That was the worst category all. Okay, and that meant if you were in the black, you were greater than 8% disparity. And the minor ones went from 1%, 0.5%, 3%. The colors went a little bit redder each time, then got black, okay? So the reds was all around the Northeast, and where you'd expect it, a lot of it, okay? There was some out in California and Texas, but not as much. All of a sudden, I'd look on the map, and most of Pennsylvania is like red, the urban areas, not the rural areas, but, because you didn't really have a lot of middle class.
what are these state legislators trying to get
So,
some money?
where do you think I see a black square?
Where?
It's a perfect shape of Erie County.
Wow.
Okay, that meant that you are greater. Now, in math, Ron, that means greater than 8%. Okay? Mr. Buki was right. Now, what he did was he looked up the data. Data is easy to figure out. You look at what the houses, the people who live. The Census Bureau does this for every 10 years. They tell you, how much do you make? Well, there's a reason why they ask you that. How much was your house? Where do you live, right? The data's all there. We don't have the time or effort. We could. So guys like Mr. Buki do that, and they tell you what you probably already know. All right? But there it is, We are in bad shape. The middle class is gone. Now, when you look at GE, when I was a kid, and you're talking back when we were young,
Yeah.
you could ride down Green Garden. Green Garden was like, I remember,
Used to be a rich district.
that was the next step. That was where the young doctors and lawyers lived, or people that made a little bit more money in the factories. That was the next step to Glenwood or South Shore or wherever they wanted to go. But that was kind of like, those of us who lived at 30th and Cascade would say, wow, look at it. They got a pool in their backyard. They got a nice brick house, okay? And so what do we do, Ron? Do we pay our guys? Seriously now. Do we pay them $20 an hour, or do we go to the right to work state and pay them less than that? I mean, here's the thing, that's the quagmire we were in, okay?
Well, see that now you got the school district, you got the police department, fire department. They've had their raises over the years, okay? Now, industry the last 20 years has took it in the shorts. You might have a 6-year contract, and maybe out of that 6-year contract, you got 4 years, you don't get nothing. Nothing at all.
Yeah.
Then you want to take your benefits away. Now, that's another thing.
The difference between a factory and government, we have arbitrators. But not just arbitrators, we have mandatory arbitrators.
But now you got...
Binding. You know what binding means? Yeah. It means you go into the room and you're like this. You got both hands tied behind your back, okay? And you're going to negotiate, okay? That's the way it is. I mean, it's the system. I mean, there's going to be a big wake-up in this country someday, because I always ask this question. Who will be left to pay for...
That's going to happen here. Well, who's going to pay the bills?
I mean, you're looking at... Well, you're looking at it now. I mean, people are voting with their feet. The idea of a big city... there are some big cities yet, but the idea of the big city being the boss and the core, that's kind of going by the wayside. You got all these little suburbs that, they don't see or don't care about the overall picture. They don't care. Okay? They don't care about the water system was started here. Just give us what we want. Okay? That's where you get into the argument about buses and everything. Okay?
Now,
so what do you do, Ron? I mean, okay, until people wake up someday and figure out that,
How do you make out
we're all
on that?
interdependent upon one another,
How'd
okay,
you make
we're
out
in
on that
trouble.
meeting?
Huh?
On that bus issue? How do you make out?
We
had it
I
out.
announced earlier, we're trying to set up a meeting, but it's going to be a meeting where there's going to be, if it's not going to be realistic and negotiable, it's not going to happen, okay? It's going to be, this is about representing the people that elected me. I'm not worried about Harbor Creek. I'm not worried about Fairview, not worried about Mill Creek. Buses can run there now. They do. If they can make money, they can run there. I'm worried about the people that voted for me, not the ones that live, the ones that write big for the newspaper and then drive home over the border. Go ahead, caller.
Hey there, Kaz.
Hey,
Interesting discussion you got going on with DJ there. I just came on. I don't know what you talked about prior to this. But what you're addressing is the issue I've always wondered too, how the school district or even the city employees, any of the union people expect to keep getting higher wages when the people that pay their taxes for those wages are trying, they're paying, and those people that are getting paid are moving outside of the city limits so that they don't have to pay that city tax. They might pay county and township, but they're not paying it into the city that pays them.
well, there's your problem. In the old days, it wasn't a problem because people, we had, all these neighborhoods were inhabited by people that, paid their taxes. They had pretty good jobs. Okay, our median income, and median means their averages can be played around with, okay? When you were in high school, they told you an average was you take the total divided by the number.
Right.
But you have such things when you become like, when I went to school being an accountant, they teach you weighted average, median average. Okay, median average means you take the exact middle person and you left or right of that bar, okay? So, our income, no matter how you look at it, median, average, weighted average, it's going down, okay? That means, and the assessed value of the city is probably going down. When you look at all that and you go, part of the problem is, and I've said this, it'd be nice if our own employees would actually start living in the city again.
Who was the mayor at that time?
Well,
Philippi or
I think
Vacchio?
it was, I'm threatening to say Lou, but I don't remember.
I don't think it was Lou. I think it was maybe Slovakia that they...
But I don't remember if she had her hands tied either by the courts.
There's something about it.
There's been challenges, but, when you get down to it, though, it's like I tell a lot of people here, if you really love the city, and I've heard this from principals about our school district, well, you got a great school here, and then they send their kids to a private school,
Right.
or they send them, they go outside the city, or, same thing here, but some of our people in the economic department, you got a great, look at these great houses, well, then buy one. Buy one downtown.
I tell you, Erie's one of the cheapest places. You've been all over the country, and so have I. Erie's really cheap to live. The taxes are dirt cheap. Got beautiful homes. They're usually about $50,000 to $100,000 cheaper than any place else. And
But until we figure out, Ron, how to get people to, and this is where we're going to have to systematically, and it's going to be it's kind of like the old saying, Doc, you and I remember taking classes about the Greeks, right?
Right.
Old Sisyphus on that hill with the ball rolling down. You got to dig in now. The ball's either going to roll you over, or you can start pushing up the hill. It's not easy, but we got to dig our feet in. We got to take an inch back at a time, and maybe start creating an atmosphere that we can start bringing some people back into this town again. Otherwise, if it's going to be the status quo, then we will come to a point in time where there won't be the money necessary to pay for what's got to be done.
okay, now you got...
And listen up, nonprofits. It's your turn, whether required by law or not, to just kind of step up to the plate and start doing something, like adopt a police officer, adopt a fireman, something. Start paying.
At Zurn, and you could donate an hour of your paycheck a month. Okay, and I think GE still has that. Now you got 1,500 people where that go, and let's say $20 an hour, for just a number. That's a lot of money coming into the fund, wouldn't you say? Now you're not going to have that fund. Now what are they going to do for money?
Well, United Way already announced their
Oh, yeah, they're going to be hurting real bad.
Go ahead, Doc. You got the form.
Well, I was just going to say, what's hurting, particularly for me, is the fact that when you're trying to live on a little bit of retirement and Social Security, a little bit of retirement, that you can't afford these high taxes, and that's what makes people want to move out of Erie to places like Florida, where I've been told, I can live better down here than I can live here.
Well, the trouble here is you take, and I'm going to blame some people, and I blame the people in the government, in the state. You got a case where you got a city with declining, and this is nothing wrong with you and I, Doc. We're both retired, but you know what? We're not producing the kind of income we used to.
No, we aren't.
So we're not spending money as much as we used to, so that means business doesn't come in here. We're not getting people that invest. You don't have new families coming in as much where, they're going and you're kind of like, you don't have that feeling anymore. So with a lack of investment, a lack of people fixing up their homes and making them more taxable, but in a way that's good though. You got the things are moving upward. When you look at Mill Creek, it doesn't take a genius around those areas. I mean, you got people moving in, you got new businesses, your tax base. We don't have the tax base, and then we turn around because of state law, and whether it's government, whether it's social agencies, whether it's the diocese, whether it's a school district, whether it's anybody, we add layer after layer of nonprofits.
That's what's
happening. And when what you're doing is you're saying you're forcing the city. And I know this is hard for people. I mean, people understand this. There are things we have to pay for. The police, the fire, all that stuff.
We do.
And that means that figure. You got two ways of changing it. You either cut back services, or you try to keep it the same. And if you're going to keep it the same, then you got less people. It doesn't take long to figure out that with less of a pot to enter into, it starts to become a little bit one-sided, and that's where the problem is. And we need help on a state level. For communities that sit out there like Mill Creek, and they don't have the lion's share. And if you read Mr. Buki's report, he goes into that about it's time to share some of the social problems, and the agencies are all in the city. Spread them out a little bit. Everybody shares in the pain a little bit. But no, they want to take over the bus company, yet that building they're building took up how many taxable properties?
Correct.
Miller Brothers. How about reimbursing us for that tax loss? Okay? Yeah, we're doing good for the whole area, but we're the ones that are suffering. We got the stadium, we got the arena. Okay, what? You can make a case if people buy a few beers at night?
Well, I'll tell you what.
I'd rather have that steady income,
Like, okay, look at
The city tax and just go by county tax covering everything.
Say that again?
Eliminate the city tax and just have a great county tax so that everybody in the county is paying it, and out of that county.
Oh, you want to see? You want to see that old movie where you have them storming the castle?
Now, wait a second. Now,
they love. Let me tell you this.
Remember, Guy Finley used to have said, "Okay, let's get Lawrence Park, Harvard Creek,
yeah,
and then get everybody and combine it into one identity."
Yeah, you know what? You bring that argument about metropolitan government. I was in the room. And I can guarantee you, I was in the room one time when they were thinking about how to change the wording on a document to keep metropolitan out of it.
I think it would be a great deal.
And even regional had to be adjusted because, here's what they want. Everybody wants to be part of the city, okay? They want to help us. They want to take over our bus company. They took the airport from us, okay? Everybody wants to help us until you mention a magic word, okay? They're not. You don't really think. And Doc, you know this. I think you know this, right? There's no way in the world they're gonna. You're going to say. They're going to say. I don't have a problem where I live.
Yeah. I'm going to have to bring that up in one meeting. I want to see how many.
I want to see if they don't. You go down to Mill Creek and bring it up and see.
I'm not in Mill Creek. I can't go there.
They'll be riding you out. Well, no, just go to one of their meetings and bring up. Be a nice idea if you merge with it. They'll ride you out of the rails.
Well, here's what I'm basing it on, Kaz. if you've done like I have, gone to other states, and when you drive on the interstate, you'll see instead of a city sign, it's a this area of, it's like a borough of.
Yeah.
Better than the city. And so everything in that, 20, 30 mile radius of that is all based in that one community.
Well, you got examples of successful metropolitan and regional governments. Toronto, as an example, Jacksonville, Indianapolis. There's many out there, but you bring it up in a town like Erie, and
I don't know, we get railroaded out.
the same reason why they moved over the line, not for the weather, by the way, is the same reason why they will probably ride you out in a set of rails. Let's see. I predict that if you brought that up, you'd probably be over the city line in 2 seconds.
Probably so. But
They boot you over,
Hey, why not? What the hell? I got to shake them.
No, I agree with you. You know what?
Some of them might have a heart attack.
It's like the gambling money. That's supposed to help us all, right?
well,
Yes.
certain people, I gather.
Yeah, the city don't get a dime, okay?
They get money.
No, we don't.
Okay, you get that tax abutment when you.
We got fireworks money one time.
Wait. I get $375 off my taxes, county taxes, because of the.
That's the Commonwealth giving you that, not the county.
No, that's the gambling money.
Yeah, but that's the Commonwealth ordering what they call that, Doc? The Homestead Act?
Homestead Act.
The Homestead Act, yeah, but that comes out of your,
That's all with the casino, though. That's all that.
comes out of the lottery.
Yeah, so I mean the lottery, the casino, so all that stuff. But there's no casino money coming into the city, okay?
I thought the host, like now, we were so up here, we were going to get that casino on the lakefront. Oh, we'd be the host of that, and we'll be getting a lot. We'd be, instead of fighting about getting money, we'd be fighting how to sell, buy stuff.
We actually, in the way the law was read, if we had got the casino, because of the size of our budget, okay, this is why they can't keep all the money in Summit, okay?
That's the hosting.
Yeah, but they can't keep it all because they cannot exceed their budget and get a windfall by too much. That's the way the law is written.
That's what they do.
But they're also supposed to hire police and fire. But if I remember right, they still have a volunteer fire department. They still use state police. Okay, so where's the money that's supposed to be for all the problems that it brings?
But they have one right inside the casino. They have an office.
How about giving the city some money and we could increase our police force? How about that? Would that be nice?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, ain't gonna
How much of an
happen.
influx did we have of foreigners coming in the last 5 years?
Hang on that. Doc, are you still there?
Hey Doc, you there?
Doc? Hello?
I'm here.
Yeah, we don't want to take over the show from you, so go ahead.
Wait, Doc, what do you think about how many influx of foreigners have came into Erie in the last 5 years?
Crazy type of answers you can ask, like maybe putting a cap on pay raises, pay amounts for different positions.
Well, we can do all we want, but the bottom line is when you have binding arbitration, and the term is binding.
That's just it. We don't have that arbitration. We work as a city that we have so much money that we can use, and that's what we work in. Just like a home budget does. You can't exceed your budget and expect to see money coming in some other way.
There will be a rude awakening someday, and it won't be.
I think the next administration, whoever comes in,
It won't be council's decision. It won't be the mayor. It'll just be the reality that there's, unfortunately, no more money. We'll be faced with some very troubling. If it keeps going the way it is, and people keep voting with their feet and moving over the border, it's not going to take long to figure out what's going to happen.
So I know.
It's going to be.
I hope somebody comes up with a decent answer that will be.
I mean, you look at my neighborhood. You got a lot of the houses are taken over by landlords, renting out to college kids. When they go home, well, there you go. There's 2 or 3 months of nothing there. Nobody's buying groceries or anything. So, what would you rather have? 12 months of a nice family in there, or 12 months of rentals?
we only have one on Marion Street,
What's that?
schooling rental.
But I mean, like 38th Street. Okay, you look at that neighborhood and you go, how long does that last before? And you wonder why businesses think twice about operating somewhere. They you might get a bar or something like that, or CVS is doing good, but
Ain't bringing no revenue hardly into.
no, but that's what I'm saying. But if you want a grocery store, you got to have people there that's going to buy. Okay, it's surprised why we don't get a Wegmans or
I'm
something.
surprised we ain't got one up on Grandview yet. I talked to somebody.
Well, there you go.
Rose.
Well, Ron, you look at the demographics, and somebody's not. Hey, Doc,
check it out
you're still there, right?
Yeah.
They opened up 2 stores in Harbor Creek.
Oh, they got more coming too, I think.
Yeah, I mean they opened up the old Giant Eagle, right?
Right.
What they put in there?
Some grocery chains coming in there.
Called the Price Right.
Yeah, okay, I'm wrong. I think they got one, plus they got the new Giant Eagle they built. And then in Mill Creek, they're building two new ones. They're bringing in another, let's see, Giant Eagle, I don't know what's going to happen in Summit, but they're bringing that one down into Mill Creek, and across the street where the bank is, okay, they're building a grocery store there. And Doc's right. We're sitting there in Erie,
And that would be
okay,
a prime
with an empty
location.
grocery store at Grandview, okay?
That'd be a prime example. People all over that. Then you got the housing there for the elderly, and they go over and get the groceries, and that'd be an idea right off Route 8. That'd be I got a pump on one guy.
Ron, do you know when I moved in East 38th area? Okay, we had
Got a quality up there, and
and then you had you had Antonio's,
you had a lot of things up there.
and you had the Super Duper, and then you had the one where the hardware store was down on Old French Road. No, down on 38th and Old French, right near the VA hospital. That was a low blows. At one time, you had a grocery store where the ice rink was. Mm-hmm. Okay, that was a
bar. That was what was that bar called?
DNR or something like that.
Oh, that was
And,
back in the 70s.
Out there.
You look now, and it's down to you got Natalie with Erie County Farms. You got let me think. You got Tops down the street, right?
If Erie County...
And you have the one at Perry Plaza.
In Perry Plaza there.
Yeah, you got one there, but
You ought to try to see if it'd be cheaper for her to maybe set up a store up there on Grandview Plaza.
yeah, well, you never know what's going to happen. But the whole thing is, we keep getting addition by subtraction. We're not gaining any ground. I mean, when people look at the city now, years ago, you'd never had those kind of empty store situations all the time. Not on big streets like that,
Oh, no, you didn't.
But back then, you had downtown going great. There was no mall up there then. Now you got the mall, and like you say, that's the hub of the city right now.
But we still do our shopping on the east side, right? Where do we have to go?
We had a mall.
Yep, and that's not, why can't we have it? Which brings up the case of where's our economic people?
Oh, we did try to get a downtown mall, but for whatever reason, the store just didn't seem to attract enough customers.
I
Yep.
think you can't get nobody to go down.
Yeah, you and I, Doc, we remember the golden days when you and I were working at the parking ramp as college kids, remember?
I used to go to Cressy's and Murphy's there, Grant's.
Oh,
Get your 25-cent.
everything was down there at that time. Santa's Workshop.
Hey, Doc, thanks for calling. We're out of time.
Okay, thank you. Have a great day, guys.
You too.
He's a referee.
He's our guillotine man.
Well, 2 minutes ago I would have.
Did he come out and warn us?
Oh, we've had warnings 4 minutes ago.
Yeah, that's what happened. We get on a roll. Oh, we're out of time.
We are.
What happened?
We're
What
out
are we
of
going to
time.
do with this transit authority?
Next time. We're out of time.
No, I'm just saying. At the meeting.
I'll tell you after we have some negotiations, if we do. What are you, the voice of reason?
He's a guy that keeps us in check.
Ladies and gentlemen, you have been watching the Taxpayers Hotline Show on Erie's own Government Access, Channel 9.